We begin CBS2 News at 11 with breaking news from Toronto, Canada, where there has been a mass shooting outside a restaurant. 2 people are now confirmed dead, including the gunman. At least a dozen others injured. Witnesses said they heard nearly 24 shots fired and described a chaotic scene.
I would say I heard at least 20 shots, right, in intervals. You know, clip being spent, reloading, clip being spent, reloading, clip being spent. That's what I heard. And then I saw the carnage as I ran down the street here to kind of follow the gunfire, I guess. Pretty crazy.
Toronto police say a young woman was killed. Among those wounded is a young girl who's in critical condition. Police say it's still too early to determine a possible motive for the mass shooting. We will continue to bring you any new information as we get it.
It's like I lost one of my family. Since yesterday, I'm like...
The other big story tonight, co-workers coping with the death of a Trader Joe's manager during the hostage standoff. And we're learning more about the terror people faced while trapped inside the store.
We have live team coverage tonight, beginning with CBS2's Brittany Hopper covering the community in mourning. Brittany.
Suzanne and Peter, dozens of people have been coming out here all day and night. Just take a look at this memorial that continues to grow. Look at all of those flowers, candles, and notes as this community comes together and grieves. Co-workers, friends, and strangers have been gathering all day and night, uniting together as they mourn the loss of Trader Joe's store manager, Melyda Corado, who was shot and killed during Saturday's hostage situation in Silver Lake. Rosa Max lives 2 blocks away. She and other neighbors say it's been devastating on the entire community.
For me, I'm shaking.
Solidarity, I guess, to be part of the community.
On Saturday afternoon, 28-year-old Gene Atkins shot his grandmother 7 times before kidnapping another woman and leading police on a pursuit. Shooting through the back window as he raced through the streets. The suspect crashed outside the Trader Joe's, got into a gun battle with police before running inside and holding some 50 people hostage.
And I just can't imagine what it's, I'm a mother and I have a child near her age, and I can't imagine that he went to work one day and then just this could happen.
Trader Joe's released a statement saying in part, yesterday marks the saddest day in Trader Joe's history as we mourn the loss of one of our own. Our thoughts are with her family and our crew members and customers who experienced this terrifying and unimaginable ordeal.
We're neighbors.
And just down the street from Trader Joe's at the Jewish Community Center, on Sunday night, local politicians and community members gathered to grieve together.
We heard from our community how this impacted everyone.
Now, Trader Joe's will be closed until further notice. As for the suspect, he is behind bars tonight and he is being booked on murder charges. Reporting live tonight in Silver Lake, Brittany Hopper. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Brittany, thanks. CBS2's Christy Fajardo joins us live now with more on the young manager who was killed and the gunman. Christy.
Yeah, Peter, the family of the suspect says that he had anger and mental health issues and was also unemployed. It's a stark contrast to the victim, who was remembered here tonight as being full of joy. So many people gathered to honor Melyda Corado. They spilled into the street. The 27-year-old Trader Joe's store manager was killed during an LAPD standoff with a gunman on Saturday. Her big personality even came through in photos. And she no doubt would have liked seeing the store's sample coffee cups doubling as candle holders.
The last thing I told her, to lock this door. She said, oh my God, okay, Raymond.
Store employees like security guard Raymond waver between tears and disbelief. He was off yesterday, but others were working when police say 28-year-old Gene Atkins, who had already shot his grandmother in South LA, crashed his car nearby while fleeing from police. He then ran into the store with a gun and held the people inside hostage for several hours.
All of them, they're sweetest. It's like I lost one of my family.
He can't be in his right mind. I'm like, what's going on? What made you do this?
Back in South LA, where it all started, Atkins' cousin tells us their 76-year-old grandmother is awake and trying to speak after being shot several times. And even in her condition, she's still worrying about her grandson, who's now being held on $2 million bail.
That was her baby. She raised him.
Deshaun Hayward says Atkins had a violent temper, but no one thought he'd direct his rage at Grandma. Other family members have said Atkins was feuding with her because she didn't want his girlfriend at her home.
My grandmother's 76. She's old school. She don't do all that, you know, you coming to my house, your girlfriend coming over, no.
Whatever the reason, police say Atkins' decisions on Saturday left behind tears and despair. Tonight, Corado's brother, who has now arrived in Los Angeles, tweeted, "I miss my sister. I wish this wasn't happening." In that tweet, her brother also said that family members were coming from as far away as Australia and that she was immensely loved. And we have certainly seen evidence of that from the turnout here tonight. Live in Silver Lake, Christy Fajardo, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Christy. Trader Joe's employees set up a GoFundMe account in memory of Melyda or Mely Corado. Donations are at around $18,000 tonight. They had just a $5,000 goal. Workers at other Trader Joe's across the country also added notes expressing their love and prayers.
He said he was going to kill us. I'm really angry at this guy.
And still ahead in a few minutes, what really happened inside the store. We hear from one of the hostages, who is also our CBS2 friend and colleague.
And turning to weather now, we're expecting heat and high waves. CBS2 meteorologist Markina Brown is tracking it for us. We see downtown and Santa Monica looking beautiful tonight.
Yeah, definitely beautiful, Suzanne, but it is going to get hotter as we head toward tomorrow. The two things kind of coincide, the heat and also the high surf advisory that we have in effect, because lots of folks will go to the beach to get away from the heat, but they need to know about that high surf advisory. So first, let's talk about the excessive heat warning that we have in effect. Starts tomorrow morning, goes through Thursday evening, and you can see the temperatures that are expected here. And with that high surf advisory, that starts as we head toward tomorrow as well. It's going to be hot all week long. We are talking about triple-digit heat. We've got an area of high pressure in control that could give us some isolated showers and storms just for a few communities as we head toward tomorrow. But really, the main story will be the heat. Again, some folks could see numbers as high as 110 as we progress through the work week. We'll talk about who that is and how long this heat will last. All of that is coming up in just a little bit. Until then, back to you guys.
All right, Markina, thanks. The LAPD says a street race turned deadly in South LA. It happened overnight on Central Avenue. Police say a BMW crashed into a Ford SUV. The impact killed a man in that SUV. The BMW driver survived and remains in the hospital. Police are still looking for the driver of the second car that was involved in the street race.
A family tragedy in Leimert Park. 2 people, including an 8-year-old boy, died in a house fire. It happened in the 3900 block of South 2nd Avenue. Family and friends at the scene were devastated. Crews were able to rescue 2 women from the home. They are said to be in fair condition. 2 others inside the home escaped without injury.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was at the Reagan Library this evening for a speech on supporting Iranian voices.
Protesters were also there, voicing their opinions against the Trump administration. CBS 2's Crystal Cruz has more from Simi Valley.
Pompeo spoke for about 45 minutes and basically said President Donald Trump's administration sides with the people of Iran and takes a hard stance against the regime.
But the proud Iranian people are not staying silent about their government's many abuses. And the United States, under President Trump, will not stay silent either.
U.S. Secretary of State Michael Pompeo gave a speech inside the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley about what he described as the oppression of the Iranian people by the regime. Local Iranian Farhad Sarapur.
Obama look other way, but Trump is against this regime, and I hope never make a deal with Iran regime.
At one point during Pompeo's speech, hecklers interrupted.
Despite the regime's
Outside, a small group of people protested President Donald Trump's policies and his recent remarks on meeting with President Vladimir Putin.
If Donald Trump wants to be our president, he needs to pick one of these. Otherwise, and I think no other American president, at least in my lifetime, has given me that kind of fear and that kind of doubt about the future of our country.
The protest was peaceful. Protesters were hoping to see Pompeo, and when that didn't happen, they packed up and left after about an hour. I'm Crystal Cruz in Simi Valley, CBS 2 News.
Tonight, more on the war of words with Iran. Earlier today, the Iranian president said America must understand peace with Iran is the mother of all peace, but war with Iran is the mother of all wars. President Trump responded tonight with a tweet to the Iranian president reading, "Never ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious."
President Trump started the day with a series of tweets targeting the Department of Justice. The tweets come after the department released more than 400 pages related to foreign surveillance warrants targeting former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. It described Page as an agent of a foreign power and said the FBI believes Page has been collaborating and conspiring with the Russian government.
This is so ridiculous. It's just beyond words. I've never been an agent of the foreign power by any stretch of the imagination.
The president tweeted, "The ridiculously heavily redacted documents prove the FBI misled the courts, describing the surveillance as an illegal scam."
A hostage's frightening story coming up.
And with our hands up, we walked over to where the gunman was. He wanted us closer to him.
One of our colleagues here at CBS2 was inside Trader Joe's. Her riveting story straight ahead.
Plus, a crackdown on vendors along the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
And Elon Musk and an artist settle a fight over a unicorn.